What is good, hoopers out in the world and friends and family that have been riding with me for years? We're going to talk about the Brooklyn Nets. KD, Kyrie, Harden, Blake Griffin in the game. This is one of the deepest rosters in the entire NBA, and it's clear why this team will be the favorite starting the season based off how much talent they have. When you have two top 10 players in the world, while also having a fellow all star in Kyrie Irving, who just did 50, 40, 90 just last season, was all NBA third team, which KD and Kyrie wasn't, KD and Harden wasn't even on the All NBA team because of injuries. It just show you how tough and talented this team is going to be compared to everybody else. It's literally the Nets and everybody else when it comes to talent right now. And I'm going to try to cover and tell you what to expect from this dangerous, loaded onslaught of talent. You look at Javon Carter, a guy that can really defend, very, very pesky, can hit threes and perimeter shots. With this team, he's not going to have to do as much just because they already have some of the best playmakers and scorers and ball handlers in NBA history all on one roster. But having that extra depth and that extra versatile defender gives them something that they was really missing last year. And it's clear that if he's healthy, he can help them within 10 to 15 minutes. And if somebody goes down, at least you have a serviceable point guard. And that's something that you definitely want to have. Bruce Brown was huge for them, being able to hit the floater, being a guy that plays and gets into offensive players. Also, as a great rebounder, as a guard, can play some four, can play some two, can play some three, can guard any position basically on the court, hustles, gets rebounds, sets screens, everything you need in a glue guy and dirty work player. Bruce Brown embodies, and that's something that he has been for this Nets team, especially last year, and he's going to be a huge part of what they do this year. DeAndre Bembry just gives them another guard in depth, another guy that can score a little bit and can create his own shot from time to time. Not going to see a ton of playing time to me, but it's just another veteran that you know what you have. Nicholas Claxton was huge for them, giving them size. A rim runner, can protect the rim, can finish around the paint, can rebound, and can also set good screens and really can give space and allow guys to get to their pick and roll game, but also get to their mid range and 3 point game with the space that he creates with his screens, giving Kevin Durant and Kyrie pleasure to do whatever they want, and also gives James Harden the ability to put defenses in mismatches and allows him to play his game. KD, one of the greatest players ever, probably the greatest scorer ever, depending on who you ask, just had one of his greatest seasons when he was healthy, including one of his best playoff runs, absolutely annihilating the Bucks and also my Celtics, and just still shows that he's at the top of his game. Even though he came off of Achilles injury, he still is dangerous, still improved as a passer, still is a solid defender, one of the greatest scorers that we have ever seen in this game, and it's just one of the toughest matchups just because he understands the game, plays his game, takes his time, and put the defense at his mercy. And with the spacing and the protector in the inside game that they have on his team, it just puts them in even more trouble just because everybody on the court is a threat. And that's just even more fun for Kevin Durant. Blake Griffin was a perfect fit, being able to give rebounding, playmaking, screen setting, 3 point shooting ability. Blake Griffin has been the guy that they envisioned bringing in. He was a rejuvenated, remotivated Blake Griffin, playing with a purpose, playing with more space, and just asked to do the simple, small, smart basketball plays that he made in his years younger with the Clippers, and also what he had his short time with the Pistons when he was also an All-Star and All NBA player for them for one season. Blake Griffin has been an integral part of this team and very important to this team, and it's good to see him back even if he didn't get paid that much money, he'll be playing bigger than that. And it was good to see him go from being talked about and thrown under the bus to being a respected player again. And that's just because of his ability to buy in, understand what the teams need him to do, and to sell in that role. And that was something that he did last year for the Nets, even in the playoffs. James Harden, one of the greatest players ever, too, future Hall of Famer and icon for the sport, one of the best one-on-one players, but also one of the best passers and playmakers the game has ever seen, especially with his time with Houston, but also was able to do it, almost led the NBA in assists again with the Brooklyn Nets, even though he came in as a guy people looked at as unnecessary. He came in and showed why he was necessary, giving them passing, playmaking, setting up, and making the job easier for everybody, including KD and Kyrie, just became a great fit and just, slows the games down and get everybody going, but also can play off the ball and give them creation, whether it's putting the ball on the floor, making a three, or even just getting to the free throw line and cashing in points, or just making the right play when you put the defense in a rotating or help situation. Joe Harris didn't show up in the playoffs, but still was necessary because it gave them 3-point shooting and a guy that you had to pay attention to at all costs. Because if you didn't, the cost was getting a three splashed in your face or a mid range, and he even showed the ability to make a layup. And even though people looked at him as a disappointment and one of the reasons why they couldn't beat the Bucks, he still is important to this team. They kept him, they believe in him, and they're going to continue to have him because he is, a huge part of what this team has become offensively, and really even made strides competing defensively. Kyrie Irving, absolutely fantastic as a player, one of the most unstoppable players that we have seen in this league when it comes to scoring, ability to get to the basket, shoot the three, play off the ball, and splash threes mid-range, get to the free throw line and paint can kill you in transition, has improved as a playmaker since Boston to now, and even showed that he can be a solid defender when he's locked in and focused. Mike James really showed that he's a competitive guy at that point guard position that can splash some threes. James Johnson give you a versatile, switchable 3-point shooting forward. Tyler Johnson is just a solid backup that can hit threes and can make plays from time to time. You also got Timothy Luwalu, who's a solid 3-point shooter. Patty Mills, explosive point guard that can come off the bench and make plays and make things happen. Paul Millsap is just a versatile veteran that can give you some inside, potential outside, and solid physical toughness. And then you look at Cameron Thomas, a guy that can really come in and score the basketball at the NBA level and will be fine given the minutes and the opportunity. Still has to learn how to fill out the rest of his game. Still has a lot to learn and grow as an impact player, but he's only 19, and that's how it should be. And then you have Day'Ron Sharp, a big that plays with a lot of hustle and a lot of energy and a lot of effort, and Reggie Perry is a forward that can really have a lot of potential upside for this team in the future. But when you look at this Nets team in the whole, they have so many weapons, inside, outside creation, and also guys that can get their own shot basically against any type of defense, and that just why this team is going to be very deadly and should be able to win a championship this year. Just way too much talent, way too much weapons, way too many ways to attack, and they also showed that they can be respectable defensively given the effort and the energy that it takes. They show they can compete with anybody, and if you can't stop them, they're not really worried about giving up the points because they can score whenever and however they want to, each and every possession, putting the defense at his hands and really at their mercy to really cut them, kill them, slice them, dice them any way they want the defense to be. And when you have guys that can get 30 any given night, or even all three of them that night, even if it's inefficient or even if it's highly efficient, what these guys are to either volume or higher, this team is just a handful, a little bit too much to really go against. And this team had a chance to be settled and satisfied with what they had last season, but instead they brought back their main core and their main role players and just added more depth more talent, more switchability, more shooting, more creation, more spacing, and that's why they're going to be even more dangerous than they was last year, this season, and that's what you can expect for the Nets. If they don't win a championship, it will be another bust season because that's the reason why you got this team together. That's why you get Kyrie and Kevin Durant to come to Brooklyn. That's why you make the James Harden trade to win titles, and they have a huge chance to do it this year, especially if these guys stay healthy. They're in a prime, they're hungry, they're confident, they have the bravado, and they have the ability to annihilate any team if they're healthy. And even if they don't, they have so many weapons and so much talent that they still should be able to figure out how to win unless two of them go down. But even with one, like we seen last year, or one of the two, they will still be able to win 50 games easily and still be a dangerous team in the playoffs. But they're going to need this team to be healthy and they main three to be healthy if they want to lock it up and win it all. And they should be able to do it. I felt that way last year, but they wasn't healthy. This year, if they are, they're going to have the same opportunity. Now we just going to have to see if they can get it done. And if they do, we won't be surprised. If they don't, we'll be surprised. But then again, we have to watch, see how the dices roll, how things shake out, and how things happen. And you really never know until it's all said and done. So what I think for the Brooklyn Nets to be the number one team in the NBA, the number one team in the East, and probably the number one team to win the banner when it's all said and done. That's not a surprise. Look at much talent, look at the coaching, look at what they have in store for this league. But they still have to get it all done, and they still have to play well. But for people to forget, Kevin Durant and Kyrie and James Harden didn't play that much, and they still finished second in the Eastern Conference by a couple games to the Sixers, and that just showed you how dangerous they was, and they didn't even have Harden the entire season. Just imagine seeing all three of these guys healthy, what they can do to the league, considering that they almost won 50 games in the shortened season, and they weren't even healthy or played together majority of the season. That's how crazy this team is. That's how much they can annihilate and embarrass this league, but they still have to play the games. They still have to get through the season, and they still have to go through a tough competition and coaching and players to win it all. And now we just have to see if they can get it done. Let me know what you agree or disagree with in the comment section below. Quinn Wade, Basketball Nonsense signing out, and I'll be back tomorrow with more videos.